Thank you, Senators. Idaho GDP was $78.9 billion in 2022, which was a growth rate of 3.3%, and we were ranked third out of 50 states. Our business growth rate, we have 236,768 businesses in the state of Idaho. It was a growth rate of 5.3% in 2022 versus 2021, and we're ranked number one in business growth rate. We have pretty much record low unemployment at the moment, and the Department of Labor, in a presentation they gave last year, is telling us that a lot of our labor problems in a lot of industries, and I notice it in businesses that work for me in North Idaho, is related to a demographic problem. It's not related to a lack of employers willing to train workers at their expense. And the reason I brought up the Idaho GDP, $78.9 billion, is Idaho in the private industry sector has plenty of money available to train its workers. And what House Bill 24 represents is that Idaho businesses have asked the state, with our power to tax, to reappropriate limited state resources and a place where we're not constitutionally mandated to participate, and to basically subsidize their workforce training needs when they themselves, in a pure capitalistic economy, have the ability to do that. I'm a small business owner in North Idaho, and at any given time I employ at least 2 people besides myself and also a number of subcontractors. And the problem we have up in North Idaho, Bonner and Boundary County, is not a lack of the ability to train workers and to offer them government subsidized $8,500 grants for every high school graduate that gets trained. We're willing to pay that cost. I'm actually willing to pay new workers because then I get to train them my way and I don't have to break bad habits. The problem we have is we need workers that physically exist, and this isn't going to solve that problem. We need workers who, when we hire them, show up to the job, and this isn't going to solve that problem. We need workers who, when they show up, have an attention span and are goal-oriented and have a drive to build a career and build a skill set that the free market capitalistic economy is going to reward over the long run. That's not a problem we solve after graduating from high school. That's a problem that needs to be solved before graduation from high school. That's a problem that needs to be solved in our communities and the way we're educating. Maybe it's short attention spans because of the technology that's available to people now. In my homeschooling environment of my own children, I've raised boys and girls who are trained. They are specializing in different trades. I've been willing to pay the cost to train them, and they show up and they don't bring their phones and they turn out a good work product. And this is before they graduate from high school. And when I grew up and I went to college, I always start with any new bill and I say, it's 2023, why now? If we go way back to the Works Progress Administration, if we go back in United States history to the Great Depression, you can see then, even though we may not make those decisions today, a basis for the government subsidizing and training workers and even putting them to work at times of high unemployment and financial hardship. But those aren't the times we're in right now. So we're in 2023. We have a budget surplus in the state of Idaho, and instead of returning excess money that we've collected from taxpayers and returning it to them to put to work themselves at their own discretion in a free market economy, in a time of record unemployment, low unemployment, and a lack of available workers to train, we're talking about doing this major new expansion of government that, by the definition of welfare, is subsidies to corporations when they themselves have plenty of worth. They themselves are expanding wealth every single year in a free market economy. I think we've seen over the last 3 years that when government expands, when it adds money to the free capitalistic marketplace, it actually just causes the increase of prices. That's what I've witnessed. We've added trillions of dollars to the national economy through the creation of wealth at the federal level. We've deployed that in Idaho through massive subsidies, billions of dollars, $26 billion we're planning to put to work from excess federal created money. And we have record high inflation for the last few decades. I can see if we create this new program, a corporate welfare program by its very definition, that all we're going to do is raise the costs associated with products and services. And I don't think we're going to solve the underlying demographic problem. I don't think we're going to solve the underlying character problems of being goal-oriented, having personal initiative, showing up and being willing to be trained in a career that you can be prosperous, having the satisfaction of working hard to earn your own merits. And when you need a hand up, people can give that by charity, not out of coercion, not at the force of taxes, but out of the goodness of their heart. From family, that's how I've gotten help before when I was growing up. If I needed an extra $500 to help pay for something that would help me grow and develop, I went to my dad. So it's 2023, and given all the economic circumstances and the wealth in the private sector, I would prefer to remain in a private sector economy, post-secondary education. I would prefer that we let capitalism do what it does best, identify demands, and naturally fill in with supply, and that we as a state focus on our constitutional mission in the secondary education space. And if we have any excess revenues, which are taxes, then we return those to our taxpayer so that they can put that to work in the way they see fit. And with that, I stand opposed to House Bill 24.